Okay, folks, welcome to Friday Waffle. I hope you're all fine. It's funny how we say that. I think, you know what, we all said, like, stay safe and we hope you're all fine. That is like a throwback to when COVID was a thing, wasn't it? You said to people, when you're talking to groups of people, you'd say, I hope you're doing okay and, stay safe and all that kind of stuff. It's weird. I'm sure our kids, or not our kids, our great grandkids in years to come will wonder why. Why did you say that? Stay safe. I hope you're all well. All this kind of stuff. It's a weird one. I said it's a kind of throwback to when COVID was a thing. It's weird when you think about COVID. It's part of like the language now. We talk about pre-COVID, and when you actually think about it, it was a horrible time. It really was a horrible time because we couldn't. I mean, it sounds ridiculous now when you think we had restrictions placed on us. You could only go out in certain numbers. You couldn't just go somewhere. Hang on a wee second. I'm trying to do an update to my laptop, and what have I done there? Yeah, it's mental to think that you could only go out in clusters of people. You had to be in a bubble, and you couldn't go to a different house, and all that it's sounds so weird. And I mean, it was a horrible time for everybody. I mean, I spent in all the jobs that I was in. I mean, I never got furloughed or anything. I was working right through it. Um, I had masks on all the time, and I almost had like a permanent sore head just because you had a mask on. I mean, it got to the ridiculous stage where if I wanted to leave my office, I worked in a kind of, it's an old person's home, which I suppose it does make a bit of sense, but you had to like wear a mask, then you had the visor. I'm sure I had to put glasses on at some point as well. It was ridiculous, and it seems like something out of a science fiction film. I can imagine. I would actually love to have seen. Excuse me. I'd love to have seen like photographs of like shops back in like 2020 or 2021. And then we used to go home and we'd wait for like Boris Johnson's update. Weird. It's a weird thing. But anyway, yeah, it's Friday. Well, technically it's Thursday, but I'm doing this a day early. Um, excuse me. What have you got on this weekend? Hopefully you've got something nice. Quick recap on my week. But then I hope you can see the bulb in this room is extremely dull, really, really dull, and I've tried putting brighter lights, but it's too bright. So I've managed to. My daughter Eva bought one of these light things a while back, so I've got it stuck to the wall. Hopefully, it gives us just enough light to kind of let you see things a bit better. Um, yeah, what have I been up to this week? Didn't do a great deal on Monday. Tuesday, I was playing pool, got absolutely hammered at pool. I've bought a dartboard. Yeah, I'm going to be the next Littler now. Back in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. Well, not when would it be? Yeah, it would be. It would be the 78, 79, I think it was. Um, I used to watch darts. I loved watching darts. Jockey Wilson, Eric Bristow, all these guys. And yeah, my mum and dad bought me a dartboard, and it was in my room, and my dad had it set to the right height. He had like the oche at the certain. It was at 7 feet 9 3/4 inches, something like that. So it was at the exact specification, and I used to play darts, practice constantly. I mean, I probably played 2 3 hours a day for a couple of years, and I got good. I mean, I don't mind saying that I did get good. My best ever 501, I think, was 14 darts, which isn't brilliant. I mean, they're doing it in 9 darts, but it's still a good achievement. Had tons of 180s, all that kind of stuff. But then once I got older, discovered girls, also had a computer, other things got in its way, and then before I knew, uh, I'd stopped playing darts. The problem was nobody was good enough to play me. I mean, people would take me on, but I would always absolutely annihilate them. So I never really had any like proper competition. But like I says, other things came along, and I soon stopped playing darts, and I never looked at darts. Never actually kind of got out the way watching darts because obviously the BDO, the what do you call it? Can't remember what it was called. The players PDC Player Professional Darts Championship. It was a group of darts players that realised that they were making shit money, so all the best dart players moved away from the British Darts organisation to set up their own professional darts championship, and that was on Sky TV. Now I didn't have Sky, my mum and dad didn't have Sky, so I couldn't watch it. I still watched the BDO championships, but the problem was all the best dart players had moved away, which just left the lesser players. So I stopped watching darts probably, I don't know, maybe 88, 89, something like that. It was after just just at the point the PDC started. And then about 2, 3 years ago, I started watching it again, and I've really got into it. I mean, I'm not as mad on it as I used to be. Um, it's incredible when you actually think about the standard of darts. I mean, when you think back to like Jockey Wilson, Eric Bristol, these guys would get like 100, they would get maybe a couple of 140s. On the odd occasion, they would get a 180. Now these guys, your Luke Littlers, your Gerwin Prices, your Peter Wrights, all these guys, all these fantastic players, they're getting 180s all the time. And I mean, a nine darter, which is like the perfect 501, it's the least the number of darts you can get to kind of clear a 501. I can remember John Lowe getting one in the BDO, and it was like all over the papers. John Lowe hit a nine darter. It was just unheard of. I think there was an American, was it Nicky Vizacil? I think it was. He got one before John Lowe, but I don't think it was recorded. But John Lowe got it live on TV, so that was phenomenal. But now these guys are getting. Was it Gerwin Price? He got like two nine darters in one match. Just unheard of. And it's a bit like the 147s in snooker. Why is it? What's got so good? I think there's more people playing darts because the money is phenomenal. One thing that I didn't realise was I always think of darts as being a bit kind of like working class. I mean, it is. It's a pub game, but dart players actually get bigger prize money than snooker players. It's such a popular sport. I think Barry Hearn, he was the main guy that really brought snooker on. He got involved in darts, and he's just completely transformed it. So anyway, yeah, I've been watching darts again, and I just, I decided just a couple of weeks ago, I thought, why don't I get a dartboard? You know, I've got room for it. So I've got a dartboard, I've got the foam surround to protect the wall, I've got the rubber matting. So I've started playing, I've got a couple of sets of darts. One thing that I didn't realise is how shit I am at darts. I thought I could just pick them up and instantly resume where I was, but no, that was the last time I threw a dart was probably, like I said, 1988, if not before that. So yeah, I'm not very good. I've had a couple of triple twenties in the last couple of weeks, but I'm playing every day now. But I love darts, I really do. So with any luck, I might be able to rope a couple of my mates into playing it. But if I get good enough, then I may get involved in a league. We'll just need to wait and see. So that's what I was doing. I've been playing darts every day. Um, I think that's kind of it. Yeah, listen, because I've got nothing to talk about and there's no questions because yeah, last week I decided on a whim to do a live waffle and I can't remember how it became about, but I said to a few people, why don't you join me? Anybody that wants to join the waffle, give me a shout. I'll invite you in. It was a live one, and it ended up we had three people plus myself. With Steve, we had Colin, and we had Panther. It was great fun, really good. I think it went on for about 3 hours. So just want before I forget, I just want to say a big hello to a certain guy that a lot of people that watch this channel will know him. One of my mates, Dale Boy. Dale's been watching my channel for quite a long time. I've been down to stay with Dell. Really top guy. His mum's cracking as well. Dell he's had some health issues over the last few weeks. Well, he's had them for longer than that, but he took a pretty bad turn last week, and he was in hospital. He is back out, so I'm just wishing him all the very best. One thing that I love about YouTube, the YouTube community, me and a group of guys, we recorded a little video for him, which put a big smile on his face, which was fantastic. So chin up, buddy. I hope you're feeling better, mate. It's good to have you back, and I says big love to your mum as well, mate. So that was that. So anyway, yeah, it ended up as a live waffle. It went on for about three and a half hours. Good fun. But it's just me and my Todd here tonight. So what I was thinking of doing is talking about the computer club. And I'm not talking about the computer club that I go to now. I'm talking about the computer club back in 84, 85. This was, I had a Commodore 64. It was a mate, Shug, which is a short name for Hugh. Shug had a Commodore 64, and he made me aware of this computer club at a local high school. So me and my mate Grant had a Spectrum, I had a C64. We went along to this club. It was every Wednesday. I think it started at 6:30. I don't know what time it went on till 9 o'clock, something like that. So we went along, and it was it was in it used to be held in the science chemistry lab of the school, because I can remember it being like Bunsen burners and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we used to go along to this thing, and it was essentially a piracy club. People would take along their computers. We would play games, but then it very, very quickly turned into just who could copy the most number of games. There was, this is from memory, obviously. The I would probably say about 70% of the people that were there were younger. They were probably, I don't know what age, maybe 10 to about 15 years old, and they invariably owned Spectrums. Then there was the rest of us owned Commodore 64s. We were generally older. I mean, I would be, 17, and we were the cool guys. We were the older guys. All the Spectrum, the snotty nosed Spectrum owners, they were all younger kids. And it was a funny thing because you didn't really speak to anybody. You spoke to your fellow Commodore 64 owners, and all the Spectrum owners, they would kind of hang about together, but you didn't really communicate with Specky people, probably because they were a lot younger as well. But and I can always remember that there was this one guy who had an Atari. I think it was an Atari 800 XL. Um, and I've mentioned this before. He was disfigured. Looking at it now, I don't know whether he was born that way. I think it probably was. It was like a birth defect, but he was disfigured in the face, and it made him stand out. And I don't know whether because he probably got bullied. If you think about it, he probably got bullied at school. He was quite a little nasty bastard. He wasn't friendly in the slightest. And like I said, it's probably because he was bullied. And yeah, I would say hello to him, and he would say hello back to me. But yeah, he would take along his Atari, and he would be sitting loading games and playing games because he didn't have anyone to copy games off. When you think about it, you think, what was the point of him going along? Because he was going along on his own, and he would sit and play his own games on his computer. There was nobody he can mingle with. Um, And then after a couple of hours, we always went up to the canteen. We would get like chips and like a coffee or juice, whatever it was. Then we'd come back down. Like I says, we were the kings. We ruled the roost. We were the kind of the cool kids with the Commodore 64s, and like I says, all the wee Spectrum owners, they were just little plebs. It's quite funny because my mate Grant, he had the Spectrum, and Grant's older than me, so he would have to. I'm just keeping an eye. I'm updating a laptop at the moment. I'm just making sure it doesn't go off. He used to have to mingle with the kids because obviously he was wanting copied games. So at the end of the night, in fact, before I move on, there used to be there was a teacher who used to kind of supervise. But when I say supervise, he would come in, stick his head in, and then disappear. Was his name Roy? God Almighty! It's funny how I can't remember somebody's name from yesterday, and yet I've just remembered this guy's name from 1984. I'm sure his name was Roy. He had glasses and black hair. And he used to talk to us because we were like adults. He would talk to us. He didn't really talk to the kids, the specky owners. But yeah, Roy used to come in and he would just kind of check to see what was going on, and you know he turned a blind eye to what was going on. It was quite clear to see that we were all just there to copy video games or copy our games, computer games. And Roy didn't really bother too much. Um, and then so at the end of the night, we used to sometimes, and this was hilarious, you had to take your own TV and your own computer. So I can't even remember how the hell I managed it. I had like a sports bag. I'd have my Commodore 64 in it, I'd have my disk drive in it, I'd have my discs, tapes, tape recorder, all that kind of stuff. And I also used to carry a bloody CRT TV. Now, if you're old enough to know what a CRT TV is, you'll know these things are bloody heavy. So we used to walk. I don't know how far it is. Um, I don't know how far it is. Where's my phone? I'm going to actually check to see how far this was. Let's have a wee look. I used to walk from my house to, let's see, uh, back, right. Oh, hang on, I've just spelt it wrong. I used to walk from my house to the school and back again, carrying a CRT TV and uh, the computer. Right, let's put this in here. What's going on? Okay. Right, your location. Yep, that's fine. Oh, wait a minute, I'm talking shit. Hang on. Right, wait a minute. I'm just trying to respond to a text message there. Right, now we want to type in choose destination. That would be Inver Almond Community Centre. Right, so, okay, right, 2.4 miles. Doesn't seem a lot, but like I said, you can imagine carrying a CRT TV and a bag with all that computer stuff. I used to walk for 2.5 miles, and my mate Grant used to do the same thing. And then we had to walk back. Now, if we were lucky, my dad would. See, it's not like the kids nowadays where kids at 16 years old have cars. We couldn't afford cars. I mean, I didn't get my first car until I was, 21 year old, I think it was. So, on the odd occasion, I mean, I passed my driving test in 1985. I was only 17. Um, my dad, on the odd occasion, would let me borrow his car and which was great. He felt like you're getting chauffeured about. It was fantastic. But 9 times out of 10, we'd have to walk it, and that didn't matter what the weather was like. It could be rain, hail, snow, wind, whatever. Um, so yeah, coming back, we'd obviously walk back, and what we'd do is we used to go into Grant's house, and he would always have a C90 tape with all these games that he'd copied, and it was hilarious because he would sit and he was like one of these record scratchers, in discos or nightclubs, I should say. He would be like stop, start, rewind, play, stop, and he would fuck about with this tape thing, testing all the games, and probably half of them wouldn't work. That was the fun in games owning a Spectrum. They wouldn't work. He would get to a point where he thought it was going to load and then it would crash. He would mess about with the volume control, and it was absolutely hilarious. And then I would get bored and I'd say, right, I'm going down the road, and I would go home. And usually, what I'd done is I had this little cartridge called Freeze Frame, which you loaded up a game and then you press this button and it would save the game to disk. So all the games that I had copied that night would be in disk, and 9 times out of 10 they would work. So that was great. But yeah, it's brilliant times. I mean, I've spoke about, if you could go back in time just for like an hour, I would love to go back to like the days of computer clubs back in the mid 80s. Everything was brand new, everything was different. There were Spectrums, there wasn't any Amstrads, funnily enough. I mean, I think, yeah, there was no Amstrads. It was, like I said, it was predominantly Spectrums, Commodore 64s. There was this one guy who had Atari. I don't think I ever saw BBC there. I only knew one person that had a BBC. And an interesting anecdote: the guy that I knew that had a BBC was actually he survived the King's Cross fire disaster. There was a documentary made. Oh, I think it was to not celebrate, to mark, was it the 25th anniversary of the King's Cross fire disaster, and he was like the main person. And I'm not going to tell you his name for obvious reasons, but he had a BBC. He didn't go to the computer club, but yeah, great times. And so with, fast forwarding 40 years, I go to a computer club once a month. Um, it's nowhere near as difficult as it was back in then. I've got a car, I can drive. We're all adults, but you know what? You still have that same vibe and atmosphere that you got back in 1985, and that's why I love the computer club I go to now. Um, it's it's that once a month thing for like 3 hours where I completely switch off. It's a bit like going to the cinema. When you go to the cinema, you switch off, you just get in the zone, you watch a film, you're in a cinema, a darkened room, you forget what you're doing. It's the same with the computer club. When you go along there, you're sitting playing games, you're talking to people about games or other stuff. Fantastic. Yeah, just great days, great days. So anyway, listen, I've waffled quite enough. Um, by the way, I'm actually going on holiday on Sunday. I'm going to Prague with my daughter. Going for 4 days. I'll be back on Thursday. Um, I have got a couple of videos recorded, so with any luck, I'm going to try and put out at least one video next week for you guys to watch. But yeah, I'll be back hopefully to get a waffle done next Friday. So listen, I'm just going to say cheerio again. A big hug to Dell. I hope you're getting better soon, mate. It's nice to see you home. Thinking of you, mate. And yeah, finally, guys, thank you very much to everybody that continues to support my channel. A big hello to everybody that's kind of watched this for the first time. If you're new to the channel, hang around. I'm not going to tell you to smash that like button, any of that bollocks. If you want to subscribe, you can do. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. Anyway, I'm going to get going now. Take care, guys. All the best.